Oh, oh! I'm from Australia. I'm just not quite as tall as Max McKee, but you can see I go to the same health club. And the only reason I'm speaking is because you'd like to hear my accent. This piece is the only piece that I'll conduct tonight that's not written by a devastatingly handsome composer from Australia. It's a piece written by just an average-looking guy from Australia. But it's a wonderful piece of music. You might know the tune as the old Welsh tune, The Ash Grove. And it's set in just the most luscious orchestration. This one is called Hultgren. Many years ago, in fact in another millennium, I was commissioned to write a work for Moriah War Memorial College, which is one of the oldest and biggest Jewish secondary schools in Australia. The work that you will hear is the piece that I wrote for the high school. It's called Celebration of Life. And at the premiere of the piece, they asked me to give a little introduction to it. So I said, this was a Gentile's view of what it meant to be Jewish. which is a lovely thing, I'm sure. But the thing that was most interesting about it is I talked about how history had shown that so often the Jews had tried to be wiped out by other ethnic groups. So many times it had happened. And I noted that in our most recent history that had happened, and that in the Second World War 6.5 million Jews had been victims of what was so euphemistically called the final solution. And yet, the people who had commissioned me still enjoyed their very existence. They celebrated life. And that's how I came up with the title. At the end of the performance, if you know Jewish people, there was lots of oh and crying and all sorts of things. And there was a lineup of people to see me, and rabbis and mums and dads and grandmothers and everything. And through the group in this line, I could see this old man slowly shuffling towards me. As he got closer, I could see that he was weeping, not by the tears that ran comfortably down his face, but by the tears that found their way through the furrows that were lined across his face. He was quite an old gentleman. And when he came to me, finally, he took my hand in his, both his hands, and he held my hand, and he shook my hand and he said, "Young man, you don't know what you've done." And I looked down at his hand, and there were the numbers on his wrist. So I could understand that he knew about celebrating life. I hope you appreciate that too.
On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Midwest Clinic, it's a great honor for me to present the 2005 International Award to Mr. Ralph Hultgren of Australia.
McKee and I sat down over a couple of glasses of water, and during the evening we discussed things, and as the water got lower, the understanding became clearer and clearer and clearer, and we decided that we would establish the Pacific Honours Ensemble program. And what that is we've brought 4 young Australian musicians, if they can come forward. Come on, quickish, quickish. You've got a point to catch. Okay, they're draping themselves in the flag. Which is a very un-Australian thing to do, actually. David Petherink, Jessica Charlesworth, Natasha Fox and Lloyd Van Toff. They're all members of the Young Conservatorium, which is part of Queensland Conservatorium, Griffith University, where your child could study if they'd like to study abroad. And they're our contribution to the Pacific Honours Ensemble program. The families make a significant contribution, and the Queensland Conservatorium has made a significant contribution, and so has WIBIC. And next year, in October, we would like to welcome to Australia from West High School, Winona Van Alstyne. We'd like to welcome from, I'll never forget this right, Tualatin High School, is that that? Oh, okay. You all knew. Rizal Flores. And from Bethel High School, Thomas Craig. And from West Albany High School, Kirsten Birch.
Max McKee, it's a time of celebration. So I thought a little video from the other side of the world might be of interest to you. Been thinking about what you've contributed over the years and the wonderful relationship we have. I searched through this book of yours. It's the Max McKee Health and Fitness Journal, 128 blank pages. Made me think of this other wonderful book, the very thin tome, this one, The Wit and Wisdom of Max McKee. It's made me think, what have you contributed? Well, the thing I think you've contributed most is an infection, an emotional and spiritual infection in music education. And it's pervasive. It's taking over a lot of people's hearts and souls. And it's having a great effect on kids all around the place, not just in the United States. And you know, Max, it's much more than just that technical outcome that you can see. You know, how many fingerings can you get for an F on the bassoon, or how do you make sure the 6th grader can play 6th position on the trombone? It's much more than that. It's the ineffable, it's the untouchable, it's a really wonderful thing, Max. So keep it going. Keep that emotional and spiritual infection going. That bubbling wonder of music education that you so wonderfully engage in. Julie and I send our best wishes, and the kids send their best wishes. We hope that this time of celebration will mean you can celebrate not only with all those wonderful friends and colleagues gathered around you now, but with your beautiful family and that lovely wife of yours. Thank you for all you've done for me, and thank you for all that you have done and will continue to do for young children learning a musical instrument around the world. God bless you, mate.